Humility is all about understanding you're not necessarily the smartest person in the room, and you won't have all the information to make the best decision. And so you need to have the humility to incorporate other data points and other points of view. And that's what will help you come as a team to the best decision for the business.
Hello, my name is Spencer. 안녕하세요. I think we're in the unconscious incompetence phase of data. And what I mean by that is people are realizing how deep and big and important of a problem this is for the success of their business. But their capability to do so is still very early on. A great example, we've done work with DoorDash for a very long time. One of the things they found out by looking at the data was that on-time delivery was the best predictor of users doing repeat purchases. And that was a huge deal because their competitors didn't know that. Their top competitor at the time, actually in the US, Uber Eats, was very focused on fast deliveries. So they were optimizing for deliveries under 30 minutes. Turns out people are actually willing to wait more for longer deliveries if you are accurate about when those deliveries will show up. And so by focusing on accurate deliveries instead of fast deliveries, DoorDash became the #1 food delivery product in the United States. Now, I look at most other companies out there and they are still very early on in terms of their ability to get those same level of insights. What we're doing at Amplitude is providing a platform to help everyone do that. Analytics has always been a competitive space. It was a competitive space when we got into it 13 years ago. It was a competitive space as we grew the company. It's a competitive space today, and I expect it to be very competitive in the future. The way we've won in analytics and become the leader is not through any silver bullet technology. So it's not like we created one feature that was better than everyone else's. It's through the day in, day out innovation in the product for our customers. One of the things that we spend a lot of time on is listening to our customers, asking them what they want, and then building it in the product, and then doing that again and again and again, and better and at more scale than anyone else out there. I'm very, very excited about what's coming with AI because that just is another technology lever to allow us to be even more aggressive with the innovation and set ourselves apart for other players in the space. The last thing I want to say on the competitive front is if you look at the legacy platforms like Google Analytics, I think they are long overdue to be disrupted, and so we're very excited about the potential that Amplitude has to do that. I'm so glad you called it out. Humility is all about understanding you're not necessarily the smartest person in the room, and you won't have all the information to make the best decision. And so you need to have the humility to incorporate other data points and other points of view. And that's what will help you come as a team to the best decision for the business. And so if I look at the top performers at Amplitude over time, they have that trait through and through. One of my favorite executives to work with, our head of engineering, Wade Chambers, but what's made him so effective is that he is incredibly humble about what he doesn't know. And that's actually what makes him so incredible to work with. And you are getting to a higher quality, better answer over time because of that. So you can have an adherence to the vision and mission of the company. So we want to help companies build better products and we want to be the best product out there. But when it comes to the details on every decision, we have a lot of humility that we know we might be wrong. And that's because from a product standpoint, we don't think we're smarter than our customers. We think our customers are smarter than us. And so using their input as the North Star for where we're bringing the product is a really important example. Now, we have a lot of confidence in where we're going long term and we have a lot of ambition for that. But the day-to-day execution, you have to have humility as you execute it. But I think one of the biggest traps people get in is that, they're not receptive to feedback that what they're doing might not be the best. And so it's actually important. A huge part of having high standards is actually being open to the feedback that you can be better than you are today. It's been very hard, frankly, because as you go from an early stage company to a large company, you have to go from being a founder to being a large company executive. As a founder, you are very used to leading from the front, whether it's a hard piece of code, difficult customer, whether it's a key hire, whatever the hardest problem is, you're going to go try to tackle that yourself. When you're a large company executive, you can no longer go lead from the front on everything. There's too many things to do and it's not scalable. Most of your job is actually done through other people. And that's actually really hard to do because you have a natural inclination to lead from the front and you want to go show people what great execution looks like. But because there are so many things to do, you just can't do that. Most of your work is actually building a team and managing that team, how they can do great execution.
Oh, I think it's incredibly important. It was very controversial at the time, but one of the things it gets right is there is no substitute for being in the details of the business. Whatever is important for success of the business, you cannot delegate. You have to be in it. And so for Amplitude, that's creating a great product. So I can't hire a chief product officer or an engineering leader and then go off and do something else. I still have to be paying attention to that because that is what makes Amplitude great. I have a weekly 2-hour meeting with a whole bunch of folks from the product team where I'm in the details and working with them as peers and giving them feedback. One of the things that I've actually thought about a lot is how do I get executives who can help set me up to do that work effectively? We hired Francois, our chief product officer, who's done a good job of setting up a series of product reviews that allow me to stay very close to the product and give feedback. I think one of the mistakes people made about the founder mode article was that they equated it with founders being micromanagers. And it's actually not. You can work with people as peers, not as micromanagers saying, hey, do this, do this, do this. It's more about, hey, I actually want to work with the engineers and the product managers creating the product and have conversations with them so that we can come to the best solution for what it is that we're doing. The way we look at data today, it's a very manual process. You're constantly going through thousands of data points on your own, and the ability to scale and automate and synthesize it is just going to be incredible with AI. And it's really exciting about AI is that AI can be looking at that 24/7. So, a human may only be able to look at 5 or 10% of that data. The AI can look at the other 90%. In addition to that, whenever you're making new releases or having a new campaign or something that goes wrong in the middle of the night, it can alert you to what's happening. And so I think there's tremendous opportunity. Like, we're just at the early stages of understanding behavioral data in depth, and I think AI is going to make it 10 times more powerful. And because of our position that we have with behavioral data and Amplitude, I think we're going to be set up really well to help companies use data and create great product experiences through it. My number one thing is get familiar with the technology. You cannot be afraid. I think I find a lot of people afraid of new technology, but one of the huge advantages you have if you're young and just trying to break into the industry is that you actually can spend a lot of time to get very familiar with the tools and the technological trends and different products. Use ChatGPT, use Cursor, use some of the great AI tools that have come out to figure out how they can help you be more effective in your work. And that's actually something I look at it and we just hired an intern the other day at Amplitude who had just sent me a cold email saying how passionate he was about applying AI to a bunch of the data that we had and was willing to do whatever it took to work with us. We ended up interviewing him and giving him an internship. And so he ended up creating a role at Amplitude even though there wasn't one in advance. And so that was just a fantastic example of someone young who was very familiar with the technology and took initiative to show that he could make an impact. So I'm actually very, very bullish on the younger generation and the work that they can do because that they're innovative and because they're familiar with the latest on the technology side.